ตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังธัมมังสังฆังกุณุตรังอุปัชฌายังนัมมัสสามิ So we come to the last evening of the retreat. To welcome you to my hermitage. Probably a few mosquitoes around. But it's only the female mosquitoes that bite. And they do it because they want some human blood to raise their babies. So it's mother's love. When a mosquito bites, you think, mother's love. The Buddha once spoke about the future of, or on many occasions in fact, but one feature of the way the Buddha spoke about the future was that he never made prophecies like an astrologer, but he would point to causal trains, causality, saying if this, this, and this happens, then this, and this will happen. If this, and this doesn't happen, then this won't happen. But he didn't say whether or not that would necessarily be the case. And for example, he said as long as monks, as long as monastics delight in forest residence, delight in living with nature, Buddhasasana will not disappear from the world. When we come out into nature, it's beautiful, it's not always so comfortable, and you have to be, it forces you to be mindful and careful. You have to respect nature and learn from it. Right now there are a lot of birds coming through. There was a hornbill just here at the sala the other day. Some big birds coming through. And when you hear birds singing, like in the morning, we chant before they start. We're more diligent than the local birds. And when you hear birds, you think, don't they ever get bored? The same song again and again and again. But in fact, the birds process sound much more quickly than we do. So when we hear a note, actually there are many, many kind of micro notes within that note
which birds hear, and they communicate within those notes. So it's not just the same song. There are all kinds of variations. It's just our ears are not able to pick them up. And indeed, birds tend to have many different phrases, musical phrases, and they vary them, and they have a whole repertoire. It's not so straightforward. Have you ever wondered when birds sleep, how they sleep? Often they sleep half their brain. Half their brain sleeps and half their brain keeps awake to keep them safe. So we can learn a lot from birds, I think, and when you're living with nature, then you are surrounded by causal processes. You're seeing things change according to causes and conditions. So if your mind is free from so much pointless, trivial chatter, then you become a learning being, and you become someone who is impressed by what's going on around you. You become awake to it, aware to it. And Numpu Man said, everything is teaching you. Every blade of grass is teaching you. It's not teaching you a lot of different things. It's teaching you the same thing. It's teaching you about impermanence, teaching you about the lack of any abiding essence, any independent entities. It's teaching you about the flow of phenomena. So, I'm very fortunate to be able to live in the midst of a forest like this. But it's a good reminder of the therapeutic value of nature, and as householders, importance of getting out of the house and spending time in nature when you can. So I often refer to Buddha Dhamma, as the Buddha's teachings, as the most excellent, sublime, complete, comprehensive education system that the world has ever seen. It covers all dimensions, all aspects of human life. And becoming a Buddhist, taking refuge, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, means embarking upon this education. So it's not what you believe in, but it's what you do. And one reason why religions can be the cause of so much conflict, have been throughout human history, is their emphasis on belief in dogmas and ideas, the idea that your future in this life, and especially in after death, is determined primarily by what you believe. And if you accept that as your basic premise, then you're going to have a problem with people who have different beliefs. There's always going to be some kind of friction. In Thailand, in the countryside, then the villagers may not have so much formal education. But if you were to ask somebody in village in Thailand, even to this day, what do you think happens to somebody who follows a different religion, Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu? What do you think happens to them after they die? And the reply would generally be, well, if they're good people, they go to a good place. And this is the Buddhist worldview. It's not what you believe, because many people do the most awful, cruel things in the name of very inspiring ideals. And so as Buddhists, we're very wary of that kind of belief. And we say, yes, but how do you actually live your life? How do you treat the people around you? How do you speak to other people? How do you treat them? How do you think about yourself and the world? How do you use your mind? These are far more important questions than what people believe in. And it's a tragedy that people have come to generally to conceive of religion as a set of beliefs. And Buddha Dhamma is not primarily a set of beliefs. So the Dhamma of Lord Buddha is sanditiko. It means it's verifiable. The statements that the Lord Buddha made can be put to the test of experience and should be put to the test of experience, and your willingness to put them to the test of experience is the measure of how authentic your refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha truly is. And the Buddha famously said, although he accepts offerings, material offerings of candles and incense, so on, what he prefers, or what is sublime, is the offering of practice. It's called Pati Pati Puja. So, taking the teachings away and then reflecting on them, examining them critically, putting them to test of experience in your life. This is not considered kind of disrespectful to the Buddha, that you don't just accept it with teachings with gratitude and say, I will believe this for the rest of my life. But is it true? So the Buddha says, whenever we suffer, there is always craving present. There can be no suffering without the craving, which is the expression of ignorance or lack of true understanding. So that's not like a religious belief, is it? And you can look at when have you suffered, what causes you to suffer, and take examples from your life and say what was really going on there, or what is really going on there. Okay, you have the behavior of the people around you, events, financial difficulties, difficulties with your career, difficulties with people, and so on. But all of those things cannot in themselves cause you to suffer mentally. They can cause you discomfort and all kinds of difficulties. But without this inner danha, craving, as a reaction to those triggers, there can be no suffering. So is that true? It doesn't mean I'm a Buddhist, I have to believe that. That's not the point at all. It's saying, I'm a Buddhist, I'm going to take this very seriously. And I'm going to look at my life and the people around me and really see if that makes sense to me. That's how you express refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. You take this teaching seriously. You don't cherry pick and just take the ones which suit you. You don't look on the Buddha's teachings like something to help you through bad times and then discard them as soon as things start to go well. And that can be, a common approach. And it's rather like people who are prescribed antibiotics. And of course, whenever you're prescribed antibiotics, you're always told you have to take the whole course. Don't just stop when you feel better. And of course, many people do. And this is what we do with the Dhamma medicine. Start to feel a bit better, and then, I don't need to meditate so much now, or I don't have to be quite so strict about this and that. Everything's going well now. And just as omitting to take the whole course of antibiotics means that you develop a resistance to the cause of your illness, similarly, you start to gain a resistance to defilement, in the sense that the tools that should be working are not, because you apply them just at certain specific times, in times of emergency. And the questions like, when this happens, what Dhamma teaching should I use? What's the one Dhamma teaching that will help me to deal with this? And as if the Dhamma is a series of remedies for specific ailments. And what's the question is a cause of despair to Dhamma teachings is is there a shortcut for doing this? And if you want a shortcut, then just give up altogether. It'd be better. Because that mind that's looking for a shortcut is not the wayfaring mind. It's not the mind that's going to find contentment on the path. The shortcut is the long way round, basically. So the environment, the situation back at home, at work, of course, very different to an environment like this. So where's the connection? How can we integrate? How can we take the things that we learn on a retreat and not lose them and continue to thrive in the Dhamma? I would say that the teaching I gave right at the very beginning is a crucial factor here, and that is the framing of Dhamma practice in terms of the four right efforts. So to recap one more time, the effort to prevent the arising of as yet unarisen unwholesome Dhammas, the effort to abandon arisen unwholesome Dhammas, the effort to introduce into the mind, to generate wholesome Dhammas that are not yet apparent, and the effort to take care of, to nurse and nurture and bring to maturity those wholesome Dhammas that have arisen in the mind. So in terms of techniques, then you need like a toolbox, another idea that I've mentioned. So in a particular situation, your intention, your effort is to prevent unwholesome dhammas from arising in your mind. So particularly if you're in a situation where you often lose your temper, or you often do and say things that you regret afterwards, you often get caught up with things, get stressed, or become self-conscious, or etc., etc. So these are situations where as yet unarisen unwholesome dhammas often arise. So your Dhamma practice is how can I practice? How can I place my mind in such a way that that won't happen? And it might be being attention to the body, the different scanning through the body and grounding oneself in the physical awareness, or using a mantra, or closely watching the mind and the arising of thought and mental state, me recollecting a particular quality or precept. If you remember when after the precept ceremony, I mentioned this as one option. For example, taking the fourth precept, not telling lies, and giving the attention and the importance and the respect for that precept to the extent that you feel it there with you. It's just by your side. It's with you. It's a friend. And in conversations, so you just have this kind of friendly presence by the side of you. It's your elder brother or elder sister, just saying, whatever you do, don't tell lies. Okay, you just don't tell a lie. And this is why it's also a wisdom practice. It's easy to tell the truth in a very blunt and unfeeling way. It's easy to tell lies, but to avoid either needless bluntness and insensitivity on the one hand, and to avoid dishonesty on the other hand, you need to be on your toes. It's a challenge. It's not easy. But that's how you practice Dhamma in daily life. You know, on easy things, who could be bothered to do easy things? I mean, it's no fun in that, is there? I mean, do difficult things. Maintain mindfulness in a conversation, a difficult conversation, challenging conversation. And this is, and it's ironic, isn't it, that often most difficult conversations are with the people that we love the most, because there's so much emotion there, so much expectation. And even people who've been practicing for a long time, I say it's like you have this mindfulness superpower you're developing, and then you start talking with your parents, and it's like they've got some kryptonite in their pockets. You know, it's like, where did my mindfulness superpower go? You know, why does it disappear whenever I talk to my mum or dad, and or spouse or child? You know, so the more attachment and the more you care about the other person, then the more difficult it can be to maintain right speech. And on the foundation of that recollection of whether the speech is true or not, then you can refine that. You can add on to the intention. Is there a wholesome intention of goodwill and metta? Are you speaking politely? Are you aware of your body language, of your tone of voice? And sometimes, you know, in a conversation, difficult conversation, record it. Just you have your telephone by you, just record it, and then afterwards listen to how you sound. You know, you may feel very self-righteous, and you may feel that you were spoken to in an unkind way, and you play back a recording. Not easy to do that, but tone of voice is a very difficult one to be present to. So taking an interest in other people's points of view. So somebody says something you disagree with. What's the immediate reaction? That's wrong. You've got that. You know, that's. But you say, well, that I certainly don't see it like that. Could you explain to me a bit more? Can you explain why you see it like that? Because I can't understand that yet. They're showing some interest and curiosity. And when somebody rants at you, or somebody's on your case, whatever, and then you're saying something that you really don't agree with, then your task is to be able to summarize what they said in a way that they will acknowledge is an accurate representation of their position. That's a very powerful thing to do, because it lets them know that you're genuinely listening to them, even if you don't agree. And your effort to try to understand means you put aside your own bias just for a moment. So there's so many ways in which speech and conversation can be utilized on this practice of recognizing your own attachments and defilements, and learning how to craft and to cultivate right speech, Don't forget, this is one of the 8 factors of the Eightfold Path. It's not a small thing. And so when you realize that the unwholesome dhammas have arisen, then again, how do you deal with that in terms of your actions, your speech, your mind? And here it's very clear that you do not express those negative mental states physically or verbally. You don't inflict them on other people because it's not the case that when you have emotion and you just let it all out, that you're free of it. In fact, you feed it and you increase the likelihood that the next time that situation occurs, you're going to do the same thing, and it becomes a stronger and stronger habit. So a middle way between repression and expression is simply holding it, being present to it without reacting to it, and allowing it to pass away. And that's in daily life situation that you have a very meaningful insight into the 3 characteristics, in when there's just such a strong sense of anger and emotion and whatever it might be, and you just hold it there and you just breathe through it and you allow it to be there, but you don't have to express it. And what does it do? It does the same thing that every single sankhara has ever done in the history of the universe. It arises and it passes away. And you see, wow, that's just such, I don't have to follow this stuff. I can just be present to it. But the moment you identify with it, the moment that you act upon it, then you lose that opportunity to see it. You've already added to it. You've already fed the fuel. So we can incorporate periods of meditation and just short 1-minute meditations at various periods during the day, just to calm the mind down, reestablish mindfulness. If you're practicing walking meditation, as I have suggested, then you will find it easier and easier to go into a meditative state of mind in daily life while you're walking to the bus stop, or walking to your car, or walking from a car to a building, up and down steps, just coming home, coming back to the real world again and again, not just allowing your mind just to wander off as if this is like dead time. And this is the epitome of heedlessness. So let's say you have some business in one room, and you're walking to another room, and it's like the time between those 2 rooms is just let the mind go where it will. Maybe just going over the things that just happened, or anticipating the things that will happen. And that time is lost. It could be a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But if you just come back to the walking posture and establishing mindfulness, or using a mantra, or spreading thoughts of loving kindness, you have all these options, and you become like a musician. You can play the different instruments. You can craft the most skillful response to the challenges of the moment. And this is the art, the skill of Dhamma practice. How can you keep your mind on the level and not lose your balance? Or when you lose your balance, how can you regain your balance as quickly as possible? And then what qualities can you bring? What good qualities can you generate? And as I say, when you see how important, fundamentally important, and what an absolute jewel of the mind patience is, then any opportunity to develop some patience is not just a chore, or yeah, it's sort of good for me, at least I develop a little bit of patience. It's kind of like a consolation prize when things are not, things are frustrating. No, it's far more than that. And developing patience is, you're going to have a lot of opportunities in life, and see how wonderful that is. And whether it's mindfulness or the Brahma Viharas. I was talking a little bit about mudita the other day, and there's something I wanted to add to that, and that is the opponent of mudita, or that which mudita eliminates or or washes away from the mind. So with metta, it's loving kindness, then its enemy, its opponent, of course, is anger, and karuna is like cruelty and aggression. And mudita, I think most people generally suppose it to be jealousy, finding joy in others' well-being and success. Would seem to oppose jealousy. But when the Buddha spoke about mudita, he paired it with arati. And arati is, there is a word, but probably one you won't be familiar with these days, but it's coming a little bit more popular now. It's called anhedonia. Have you ever heard of this word, anhedonia? And it's becoming more well known because more and more people are complaining of this. Anhedonia means when everything feels grey. It's it's kind of whatever kind of consciousness. And of course, many people are now pointing to the role that social media plays in giving rise to anhedonia, the sense that you don't enjoy things that you used to enjoy or you think that people should enjoy, whether it's music or food or sensual pleasures or anything, that things that now they just seem kind of bland and unfulfilling and unappetizing and sort of, just sort of porridgey. Okay, I just made that up. But I think you get my meaning. So that's sort of anhedonia, or was it arati? So the word rati is often used for this kind of delight in the world. So it's not such a great thing either. But arati is just, it's just like there's no joy in it anymore. There's no life to it anymore. It's kind of nothing. And the Buddha says that mudita protects against that and removes it. So it's quite, I think, important to recognize. So mudita, for me, it's not so much focused on this person. May this person oh, isn't it good? They've got a good, they're happy, or they're successful, and so on. But it's that rejoicing in goodness and rejoicing in wholesome things, and wherever it appears, and that's a wonderful life skill. In the chanting, the mudita phrase is, may they not be separated from the good fortune they have. It's not really that kind of uplifting. I was considering this some time ago, and I realized the phrase that expresses this much more, and one is, long live. You know, and we say, long live the Queen, long live the King, long live. That's mudita. Yeah. And that's the meaning. May they not be separated from the good fortune. They say, long live kindness, long live generosity. You know, so it has some kind of, oomph to it. You know, it's like, yeah. And you can use these phrases, like, I do this sometimes, like with ceremonies, or people think it's good thing that these people are asking for the 5 precepts. It's a really good thing that these people are asking for the 5 precepts. It's such a really good thing that these people are asking. So you like, this is the rule of 3. Anytime you have 3, and you just build it up into a crescendo. So you see someone doing something good, or you see something good, and you see that's really good. That's really, really, that's so good, isn't it? And so this is a way of cultivating this sense. And when you get to that level, that's so good. That's so wonderful, isn't it? That arati, that sense, yeah, whatever, that's gone, isn't it? This is Dhamma practice. It's working with whatever the raw material you have. You say, right now, it's like Lumpur Sumela, it's like this, okay? But what next? When you say it's like this, doesn't mean it's like this for now and evermore. It's like this right now, but what's the next step? And acceptance is, I think, often misunderstood. With the importance of acceptance is, you're in a very difficult situation, unpleasant, unsustainable kind of situation, and you should accept it. So what does that mean? It's not, I'm not advocating sort of passive, it's my karma, I just grit my teeth and put up with it. But the teaching is, before you can use your wisdom, intelligence to solve a problem, you have to accept that problem first. And what I mean by acceptance is, it's like this because of all the things that have led up to it and all the prevailing conditions. The immediate trigger conditions, the structural conditions, the social conditions, the historical conditions, and all these different things have all come together, contributed to this situation. And given the fact that all those conditions have combined in this way, then how could it be otherwise? That's the acceptance of it, that it is the way it is because of all the causes and conditions that have contributed to it being this way. But acceptance is the springboard. It's not the end. Okay, now I've accepted it. Now I've just come to make my peace with it. No, that's one step, or the springboard. Is say, okay, then what? What do I do now? Is there something that I can do immediately? What can I do today? What can I do right now? What is beyond my means to affect in any way? Put that to one side. What is urgently? What can be done right now? And so the whole wisdom faculty starts to work because you've come to that point of equanimity and acceptance, but not just acceptance out of some kind of faith or conviction, but because you see that, as I say, it's this way because of all that's led up to it. Or a very simple example I give to children sometime. If you put red and white together and you mix them up and it's pink, I don't like pink. I don't. Why is it pink? I don't. Why is it? Well, if you put red and white together, you get pink. That's what happens. And so seeing that contributions. What are the contributions? Again, one of the I tend to sort of blame Western ideas, but the idea of blame itself is so unhelpful. Who's to blame? And the moment you have any kind of analysis, now you're blaming the victim. So choose. Who you're going to blame. We've got to blame, and why do we want to blame someone? So we can punish them. But the Dhamma way is what has contributed, what did contribute to this situation. And then you see there's a lot more nuance, and this is the wiser way to look at things rather than looking for a scapegoat or looking for someone to blame. And once you have someone to blame, then you have a victim, and people become identified with being a victim, and that goes hand in hand with looking for a monster or someone to blame. So it's not excusing anybody from responsibility for their bad, evil actions in looking at this way, but it's a more healing and ultimately a wiser way of dealing with things. So going back to the 4 right efforts again, and saying the 4th one, when there are wholesome dhammas in your mind, then you can't take them for granted. Okay, and just as saplings and plants, you have to water them, you have to look after them. And like when on a retreat, people tend to still, after being on many retreats, shaking their heads, and they thought, oh, it was such a wonderful retreat. And then I got home and I was meditating every morning for, and then they tell you it's like 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And then it's A, B, C, D. And, and it's very predictable. And I have very little sympathy for because you knew that was going to happen. If you don't look into the causes and conditions for maintaining something, and you don't apply yourself, well, how could it be otherwise? And don't blame your family, or don't blame your job, or don't blame society or capitalism or global warming or AI, or I mean, take responsibility for it, and daily practice, the meditation, and say this is, at the very least, this is Bhati Bhati Pucha. It's, you see, one of the reasons why we're inconsistent is you're still looking on Dhamma practice as some kind of personal project. And it's for you and for your spiritual welfare and so on. And so sometimes, it's a look at the clock and so you sort of weigh up the balance between my long-term spiritual welfare and another half an hour in bed, and you think, long-term spiritual welfare, very important, but maybe not right now. So how do you deal with that? Well, one is to be very clear in your mind before you go to bed. You plant that thought in your mind before you go to bed. Well, in the morning, first thing I get up, I'm going to meditate. And that will stay with you, and it'll be there when you wake up. But other than that, if you do find, and joking aside, we'll find periods where we don't, maybe it's ill health or a lot going on and we're not sleeping so well and so on. And there are always so many, reasons not to meditate. But if you switch it to an offering, okay, it's like get up, I only feel, I'll do it as an offering to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Or another skillful means is, okay, the first 5 minutes of my meditation, I'm going to offer the merit to my mum, and the second 5 minutes to my dad, and the third 5 minutes to my teachers, and suddenly you can find yourself energized in that way. So those are examples, but we have, it's energy is something that we can connect with and can apply with right thinking and with what we call yoniso manasikara. Going back to something else, we're talking good friendship and online communities, Line, WhatsApp, WeChat, and so on. Sharing experience, giving support to each other. It's very important. But enjoy the meditation. Enjoy, this is such a wonderful opportunity. If you're not result oriented, but you think this is the life. That's what I say. What could be better than this? Putting effort into abandoning the unwholesome, cultivating the wholesome, purifying the mind by applying meditation techniques taught by the Lord Buddha himself and passed down for the past 2,500 years by all the great teachers. And I've inherited this tradition. I'm fortunate enough parami to have been born as a human being, come into contact with the Dhamma, and learn how to reflect in this way. And the lack of energy, laziness, it's not a fixed thing. It's easy to let go of. It's not difficult once you get the right leverage and you get the right, just a single thought, a single wise thought, a single wise recollection can dissolve what seems to be like solid, heavy kind of resistance and emotion. We can learn in our daily life. So continuity is vital. Even if you're ill or you don't feel so well, a lot going on, you have a morning meditation, and even it's not, oh, I don't have a full hour or a full 45 minutes or a full 30 minutes, never mind tomorrow. Then you say, yeah, I'm not going to be able to have a full session, but I'll just 5 minutes offer to the Buddha. It's my morning puja. I offer 5 minutes of mindfulness practice to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. A good way to. 5 minutes is better than no minutes. So don't compare 5 minutes to 60 minutes and say, it's a waste of time. No, 5 minutes you can really find out, maybe 5 minutes, and then, yeah, maybe I'll give it another 5 minutes, and then maybe it's you don't feel so bad as you thought you did. It's getting over that initial resistance. So wise reflection, yoniso manasikara, is a very powerful tool on the path to deal with the obstacles and to support the conditions necessary for progress. So I would like to express my anumodana. I think this has been a retreat where I think everyone's felt it, just the sincerity and the commitment and the whole atmosphere has been, for me and for Sangha here, and I think for most of you, just memorable. And so express my appreciation for your patience and effort, and would like to end the Dhamma talk at this point.
โอกาสครับอันดมยังธรรมกถาสาธุกรังทธามเสสาธุสาธุสาธุอนุโมทามิ